my name's Claire and this is Stitch and Sew. Thank you so much for joining me today for another video. Today's video is going to be all about my May sewing plans, so if that interests you, please stick around with me today. So I haven't actually done a monthly plans video before. Last month I did some plans and inspiration for Saphira Sew April 22, and actually I found that really useful in terms of thinking about what I was going to sew mostly for that month. So I thought I'd take it forward to this month and use it as a way of trying to organise in my mind what I wanted to sew for the month. So things might evolve through the month, things might change. I'm not going to hold myself steadfast to what I'm going to be talking about today, but I'm hopefully going to sew up as much as I can this month. The first item that I'm looking to sew up this month is the Fall Season Joggers by Waves and Wild. I'm going to pop a picture up here, and obviously I'll put all of the patterns that I talk about in this video in the description box below. So this pattern is a kind of a yoga style type jogger, and you can do it in 4 different lengths, hence the Four Seasons name to the pattern. So you can do a shorts, a kind of a knee length, a kind of calf length and a full length. So I haven't sewn up this pattern before, so I have actually already cut the pattern out but yet to sew it up, so I'm really hoping it turns out okay. I'm just initially going to sew it up in sort of as a toile really. I bought some fabric some time ago now, a French terry. It was probably my least successful online purchase ever, to be honest with you, and it's not particularly nice quality French terry. It's quite rough really is the only way to describe it, so I thought I would sew it up as a sort of a test garment to check for the sort of fit, to see whether I think I'm going to like it before I go ahead another month and sew it up in a nicer fabric. So I've got a tiny sort of offcut here of the fabric. It's just a grey French terry, and it's got, you know, your classic kind of French terry background back to it. It's just kind of a very loose weave on the back, and as I say, it's just not very soft and particularly lovely, but ideal to sew up as a test garment, to test for fit and to see whether I'd like the general sort of style and things. So that's my first proposed make. Now I had I bought 2 meters of this particular fabric, and I had sort of a reasonable kind of offcut left, and so what I've done is I've sewed up, I haven't sewn it up, I've cut out a pair of joggers for my youngest son. I'd wanted to cut out a pair of joggers for my older son, but actually I didn't have quite enough fabric for that because he's 7 but he's quite tall, so I'm sort of looking at making like a probably like an age 9 child jogger, and so yeah, I just didn't quite have quite enough fabric for that. So the pattern that I've chosen is a free pattern. It is the Petite Stitchery Joggers pattern. There's actually an adults pattern as well, which is also free, which I may well look at if I don't get on very well with the Four Seasons. We'll just see. So I've got the 2 jogging bottoms to sew up as my sort of first 2 patterns for this month. So that is the Four Seasons Waves and Wild pattern for myself and the Petite Stitchery Joggers for my younger son. Pattern number 3 that I'm looking to sew up is some trousers for work. I'm looking to use the Tilly and the Buttons Saphira Trousers, which is in her Make It Simple book, and I'll pop some pictures up of that. The fabric that I've bought is this fabric here. Now this isn't probably going to show up that well because it's a dark fabric, but it's got sort of a crisscrossy type, very small crissy cross type detail on. It's quite faint, but quite nice. I think that will sew up quite nicely. It's quite lightweight, quite a drapey fabric, so I think it will probably sew up quite nicely for that. I've got 2 meters, I think, which should be plenty enough to make some trousers, and I think that one will sew up quite nicely to wear to work. I'm also looking at doing a collaboration project this month with the lovely Marissa from the Umbrian Sewist, and so that's sort of pattern number 4 that I'm looking to sew up, but I won't go into any details about that now. We'll be looking to share that, our sort of collaboration, towards the end of May, so do look out for that one as well, and do check out Marissa's channel. As I say, she is the Umbrian Sewist on YouTube. The next item I'm looking at sewing up is a dress, and the fabric I'm hoping to use is this fabric here. This is a viscose twill fabric. I know that it's not quite so summery looking, but I just think it's beautiful. It's because it's a viscose twill, it's obviously got a little more weight than you know, kind of a viscose, but I think it will sew up, well, I'm hoping it will sew up really nicely. Now, this is where I'd like your help, if possible, please. I've got 2.5 meters of this fabric, and I've got 3 patterns in mind. I think I can probably squeeze out either one of the sort of the 3 patterns, because I'm probably looking to make sort of a knee length, you know, just below the knee on all of these patterns, because that's a length that suits me. I love a midi on other people, but on myself I'm not so keen. I find I feel a little bit frumpy in a midi length. As I say, on other people it looks fab, and every so often I do try it on myself, but I just don't really like it. So I think I'm going to accept the fact that it's sort of a knee length that looks good on myself. And the 3 patterns that I'm considering that I'd like some help from you for is, the first one is the Saphira dress by Winterwear Designs. I'll pop a picture in. The second one is the Lyra dress by Tilly and the Buttons. Again, I'll pop a picture in. And the third one is the Chalk and Notch fringe dress. Now, what I'm going to do is pop a poll up on my community tab, so hopefully you'll see that sort of at the same point as this video going live, and I would really love it if you could vote for the one you think would look the best in this particular fabric. What I'll do is I'll leave that sort of poll going for about a week, and then I will make the one that has the most votes. So as I say, if you could pop over to my community page and cast your vote, that would be fantastic. Now, apparently, if you are viewing YouTube through a iPad or a tablet, for some bizarre reason the community tab doesn't seem to show up. So you will need to use it either on a laptop or a PC or on your phone, and then you should be able to cast your vote. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. The next pattern that I'm hoping to sew up is the Megan Nielsen Brumby skirt. Now, I don't actually have the fabric for that as yet. I'm thinking of making it in a chambray fabric because I think that would be ideal for summer wear. You can make this pattern in sort of a number of different woven fabrics, from a sort of a heavier sort of denim type fabric right through to a floatier type fabric, and it just obviously depends on the look that you're going for. It's got options for some great pockets. I really like the look of those, and I just think it will make a really good addition to my wardrobe. For So Frugal 22, I sewed up a denim version of the Peppermint magazine pocket skirt, and at the time of making it I wasn't particularly pleased with it because the pockets, because of it being in a denim, really stood out, and they just look kind of ridiculous. So I did kind of, and I'll pop a picture in of the skirt as I had once I'd finished making it. And what I did is I did a little tweak on the pockets to stop it from sort of sticking out as much. Now actually I've worn that skirt quite a lot, much more than I thought I would do, and as such I definitely want to sew up another sort of skirt for summer because I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it, and I'd like to sew up another sort of plain skirt because again I think that would be useful item in my wardrobe. This pattern was actually on my make 9, so another item that I'd like to make from my make 9. Obviously we're moving through the year now and I'm conscious that I want to try and make some of the items that I had originally mapped out on my make 9. So that is the next pattern I'm looking at making this month. Now the final pattern that I'm hoping to sew up this month is the Anna Allen Anthea blouse. Now that's such a tongue twister, isn't it? This blouse has taken the sewing community by storm, and I am really interested in this blouse. I'm not completely sure about it kind of going, it goes sort of quite high up, and I normally like a sort of a scoop or a v-neck. However, sewing has made me more adventurous and I'd like to try it and see how it looks on me. I've sewn up a number of things recently where I wasn't sure before I started sewing whether it would suit me, and actually I've really liked a number of the things that I've made. So it's another one that I think that I'd like to give a try. So I'm going to try it in this spotty fabric. This is a piece of fabric that I picked up from a charity shop. It hasn't been used. It was obviously someone had bought it for something and then decided that they didn't want it. I think I've got about 2 meters, possibly 2.5, and it's quite wide, and so hopefully there'll be more than enough for the Anna Allen, can't say it, Anna Allen Anthea blouse. And I think it will be a good fabric to test it in. There's a reasonable amount of drape, but obviously there'll be enough to kind of hold that puff sleeve detail, and I just think it will be a nice one to give a go and sew up in this fabric that I don't feel particularly precious about. So another wearable toile, if you like. So those are the items that I'm looking at sewing up this month. I may not get everything done. There's I think the dress that I'm looking at sewing up, where I'm asking you to have input in, I think might take me a little bit of time, and so I might be a little bit ambitious in the plans that I've laid out. So if I don't get them all done, I'll just roll them forward into the next month. But those are the plans that I'm hoping to sew up this month. Do let me know in the comments what you think of the things that I've chosen. Let me know if you've made any of the items and what you're planning on sewing up in the month of May. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please do give me a like. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you would consider doing so. But until my next video, take care. Happy sewing. Bye bye.